Good evening. I'm Terri Stalker. I've got 3 students in the Gwinnett County school system. A couple of things I wanted to touch on today. I saw a quote earlier. I was heartened to see the presentation today on social emotional learning. And the quote was in there about unprecedented times, call for unprecedented actions. And one of the things I worry about today is, of my kids, 2 of them have always been overachievers, all A's and B's, AP classes, what have you, till COVID. Now I've got kids who have single-digit grades in some classes. And it's just devastating, right? And I think that these times call for us to be honest and not act like we're doing well when we're not. This is really tough stuff. Layer on to that, children who are maybe even less well-equipped than adults to deal with this type of uncertainty and prolonged uncertainty. Layer onto that mental health challenges. My son's best friend, my 11th grader's best friend, killed himself a few weeks ago. And unfortunately, that's happening lots of places. And you think about the burden that puts on all of us. The burden that poor child went through. He had a beautiful family, beautiful life, lots of support, getting care, yet that was something that happened. And the burden that puts on his family and those around him and all the other families. And so I bring it up to say that we do a lot of great work in this county. I've got tremendous teachers in my life in this county, but I hope that we're putting focus on making sure that kids get the resources they need and the space they need to explicitly be identifying these emotions and how to deal with them, because they're very powerful and we don't know when this stuff's going to end. A lot of employers are doing a lot of good work in that space. I know we're doing it here as well, but I can't overstate how important it seems to me that it is that we're focusing more on that than even on grades these days. So just wanted to bring that across. The next thing I wanted to focus on briefly is, with limited time remaining, the following comments from the Georgia State Conference of the NAACP et al. Versus Gwinnett County from 2017. And were you aware that the governor of Georgia issued an order that there would be no public funding of education if a school is not segregated? I was. What was your opinion on this order at that time? I don't recall. Do you have an opinion now? I don't. And do you have an opinion on segregation and the Voting Rights Act at that time and its importance? I don't recall. Do you now? I do not. Were you aware that Black people in Georgia in 1959 were given a literacy test? One of our board members, that was her deposition, and she just reelected to this board, and I'm very concerned that's not getting more voice than it has.
Thank you, ma'am. Your
Thank
time
you.
is up.
May I say, please, before you go, Ms. Stalker?
Yes, sir.
May I say, please, before you go, you are speaking about me.
Correct.
There is a deposition that's been public since 2017. And if you were to read the full deposition,
I did.
You'll find that the quotes that you're reporting are not the full story. I do indeed have an opinion about segregation. I do indeed, and it was made very clear during that deposition. And if you want to continue to make this an issue in our county, you're certainly free to do so, but I believe we have much more important work to do than point out a limited view of the morning session of a deposition that was taken 3 years ago. I'd prefer that you would look at the full deposition, and that would help you understand much more about me.
I need to respond to that briefly. I read the entire deposition.
Your time is up. You can talk.
The next day, you retracted these extensive comments. It's hard to believe you didn't mean them when they were
The
first
next
said.
day, after lunch on the same day.
Dr. Murphy, we're not going to argue at this point. Thank you. We'll see you later. Reem Mohammed and Rachel Ash.